Hello, Gems. Welcome to another episode of Tiaras and Tech. I'm your host, Shelley Benhoff, and today I'm talking to Hetal Dave, who is a Sitecore Technology MVP. We talked about how she became an MVP, the responsibility of being a role model in the tech industry, and our mutual love of singing. Without further ado, on to the episode. Hital, thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Absolutely. Yeah, as with every show, let's just jump right in and have you tell us how you got into tech.
Oh boy. So, my first degree was in civil engineering. And after I finished my civil engineering, I got into AutoCAD to do I was lucky enough that I didn't have to do a field job being a civil engineer. And I got into AutoCAD, and the company that I was working for, they had projects all over the country back in India, and they will bring the contour field books to me. And you may laugh, but I used to use Lotus to do the data entry.
That's what it was
And then,
called.
yeah, then we would run that data by a software that my company had purchased, and it will generate contouring drawings on the plotters. And that just piqued my interest. I'm like, I was happy with what I was doing, but I'm like, how does the software know how to process? And I think it was just like normal human curiosity. And then I started working for this another company where we used to do two-dimensional and three-dimensional drawings, and then we will transpose them into 3D Studio Max and generate the 3D models. We even did some projects for US based companies to design the log houses. And we even did some GPS projects where we will have to kind of program and focus in the right place so that the parcels are calibrated correctly. And then there was an opportunity to design a software that will generate 2D and 3D drawings or designs that can be then printed using an AutoLisp, which is a programming language for AutoCAD. And that's how I got into programming. So AutoLisp is at that time, was a very procedural language, not object oriented programming. So, but that's how I got into programming. And that's pretty much my first 9 years working in tech, like transitioning from a CAD data entry operator to CAD developer, then AutoLisp developer. And interestingly, in the meantime, I got opportunities to go to England as a professional singer to do concerts. Yeah. And I
I did
started
not know
exploring.
this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing where my hobbies and my interests have taken me over the years. So we are talking about like around 2000, and I got an opportunity to go to England for concerts and shows. And that's how I discovered that I could actually get into a master's program to learn computer programming. And I applied, and based on my professional experience, I was accepted. So I did my master's, um, and my major was Java, but my first job that I got was in Microsoft.
Yeah.
So, um, and I think by 2006, end of 2006, I moved to US to for a job opportunity. Then moved to Vermont in 2007, and I think that's when I got into like really deep in Microsoft platform, and first got my exposure towards Microsoft Commerce Server. And since then, like rest is history. From 2007 through today, all I have done is Microsoft tech stack, commerce. Even Sitecore started in 2007 for me.
Mhm.
And all the projects that I've done with Sitecore, only one or two of them were without any commerce integration. All my Sitecore projects that I've worked starting 2007 till today are some sort of commerce integration, be it Microsoft Commerce Server or UCommerce or Insight Commerce or Media Chase, Sitecore Commerce itself. So that's how I got into commerce. And irony is, right before I moved to US, I was actually exploring if I wanted to do an MPhil in e-commerce back in England. So maybe I was destined to work in commerce.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were destined to meet and be friends. I also sing. That's
Yeah.
crazy
Oh,
that you
awesome.
sing. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is your like genre?
It's mainly semi-classical, and Bollywood singing.
I love it.
Any Bollywood songs. I get opportunity to do that from time to time where I work now at Wandel. They have real this great cultural meet ever since this pandemic started, and it's been fun. I get to showcase. Everyone gets to showcase their talent, and but my singing is pretty much limited to that right now because in Vermont. Where I live, there is not that much Indian population, so the opportunities are not there. And
Yeah.
plus, with my job and everything, I cannot actually travel that much. Like, there will be more opportunities in New Jersey or Massachusetts or even New York because that's where Indian population is really thick. But I just don't have time with between
Yeah.
house, job, and kids and family. So I enjoy
That's a
singing
lot.
every now and then. But professionally singing is over, sort
Yeah,
of.
absolutely. Yeah, I a lot the same. I'm also classical. I like opera. And I have this idea, okay? And I if you want to be a part of it, I would love it. I'm going to call it object oriented opera, where
Ooh,
I take classical royalty free songs and add like programming, like terms and
wow.
stories to it. I would love for you to be a part of it if you're interested.
Sure, sure. Count me in.
Yeah.
I
I
would love to explore that
yeah.
because I did like a 3 years voice culture course back in
Mm,
India, and my teacher he was into this harmony symphony type of singing, and I was mezzo soprano.
that's what
And
I am.
yeah, I don't think I am now. I think my range is kind of because I don't practice as much,
Mm,
so the range has gone a little lower. Maybe I'm soprano at the most nowadays. Um, but I still manage to sing some of these Indian songs that I love to just sing every now and then. I will just sit with my laptop, and I there is a karaoke Indian karaoke website that I'm member of, and every now and then I will just open my laptop and start singing with the tracks. So
I love that.
yeah,
Yeah,
I still try to keep it alive.
exactly. Yeah, absolutely. If you sang professionally, it would be a travesty if you just never sang ever. I
True,
will
true.
tell you, for every like speaking job I have, before I warm up, because I didn't used to, and it really
Yeah.
helps. And I sing scales and all
Yeah,
of
I
that
remember
stuff.
all sorts of crazy things I used to do. If
Yeah,
I had a show where I would be singing like maybe 28 or 32 songs, um,
it's a lot.
I probably wouldn't eat all day, so that I have more
Yeah.
space to breathe in, and I'm able to expand and work better with my diaphragm while I'm singing. So I probably wouldn't eat anything. Couple of hours before the show, I'll probably even stop drinking, and during the performance or during the concert, I will be probably drinking like warm water so it doesn't cool down my vocal cords, like
Never
all
cold
sorts of
water.
things. I
Hmm.
wouldn't eat fried stuff. I wouldn't eat ice cream. But
Yeah.
all that discipline is somewhat lost now because I don't have to do that as much. I still try not to eat too much ice cream, but winters, I
Yeah.
think it's weird that I like to eat ice cream in winter, not in summer as much.
That's not weird. Yeah, like ice cream all the time.
Yeah, in summer maybe smoothies, but ice cream, I
Right.
want to eat ice cream in winter.
Totally. Oh my gosh. I mean, I could talk to you about singing all day, but this is a tech
Yep.
podcast, so let's
Yes.
get back to Sitecore.
Yeah.
You are a Sitecore Commerce. MVP, right?
It is now Sitecore Technology MVP because
Oh,
I think
good.
Sitecore has kind of eliminated the commerce
That's right.
category.
Mm.
So when the commerce category was in picture, at that time I was Sitecore Commerce MVP. But I think it's been a couple of years then since Sitecore has eliminated the commerce category and it's like Sitecore Technology MVP because I think it's also because the way the platform itself has expanded. If you started giving out technology specific MVPs, it's going to be very difficult. Uh, because with the DXP and the composable architecture coming in, I think you just don't need to know the CMS part of it, but you also need to know also all these other floating components that you bring together. So a technology MVP would be more apt title, and I think that's what Sitecore has chosen to do, which is I'm totally sold on, because the
Mhm.
way I remember back in 2007, 2008, I think up until 2010, you could say that you were a Sitecore expert. Now, if anybody says they are Sitecore expert, no.
I'm not. I teach it
Yeah,
and I
you
tell people all
cannot
the
know
time.
everything about Sitecore because
Absolutely.
when I started working with Sitecore back in 2007 with version 5.3, it was just a CMS platform which had a little bit of OMS functionalities. So it was kind of focused on how to make it easy for content authors and content managers to manage their website content, right? ASP.NET MVC was picking up. So it was around that time. And then cut to 2022, we are talking about composable architecture and Sitecore with Sitecore's acquisitions over the last couple of years, at least. um, Sitecore is not just a CMS anymore.
Hmm.
It's commerce, it's digital marketing, it's engagement, it's AI. So it's a lot, and you can know a little of every component so that you know better how to integrate them. But it would be, I will never say it's impossible, but it would be a little too ambitious to try to be master of all.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah.
Agreed, 100%. Can you tell us like your path to the MVP award because it is not easy.
No, it's not easy. But it's not very difficult too. I think it's more about caring and sharing your experiences. Um, I was very lazy, I will admit, because when I got my first MVP 5 years ago, um, you had to be present in community, and with our work hours, it's just hard.
Oh yeah.
Um, and um, you just don't have enough time, and a lot was going on. But the only thing that brought me or pushed me to try and get an MVP was when Sitecore started having these MVP summit, and I'm like, what are they given that I am not given when I just attend like a symposium? I never got to go to the MVP summit. I'm
Mhm.
like, I want to have that door open for me.
Mhm.
That means I had to work for it. So I tried to figure out what exactly I needed to do, and um, some of the people from Sitecore really helped me. Thomas, Jason, Kevin. I think there was one gentleman named Kevin. I don't think he's with Sitecore anymore, but and Alex Shaiba. Like these are the few people that I can name on top of my head, but they have provided with guidance, like what I need to do. Even when I was applying for MVP, I'm like, can you please help me if I'm putting everything down? And uh, they will help me, they will guide me. Plus my mentors at the companies that I was working. Um, to name a few, like some of these people that I look up to would be like Bill Cronin, who I still work with, Shannon Place, Victor Lalogia, Al Hickman, Bill Hickson, like all these people. I'm just throwing out the names, but all these people I look up to, you know. they inspire you. And when it comes to commerce, Zohart, who was a Microsoft Commerce Server MVP, she was amazing. And I used to work with her at my previous company. So you pick a little from everybody who is way better than you, and you learn from that experience. And then while working with them, I started getting exposed to clients and be more communicative. And I was struggling, like, how do I put my knowledge on a blog post? And that's when it occurred to me that, oh, I do a lot of documentation for all these clients that I work for, how to do certain things. Why don't I do the same with blog posts? So you would like, if anybody would go to my blog, Hetal Dave's blog posts, they would see that a lot of blog posts are how to install stuff. And if while installing, if you are getting into some trouble, how to fix those issues and that kind of, because initially when Sitecore came out, those are the basic stuff that people were struggling with, or they were trying to figure out what the best way to do that. So whatever I was going through, I started documenting all of that. And I learned, actually, documenting every little small action that you take while you are troubleshooting an issue was Zohart. I will credit her, because she had that same habit. Like, she would note down everything, and I saw her do that, and how helpful it was for others. So I started doing the same thing, documenting, and that basically became my blog post. Then every now and then there will be some issue in production which would turn out to be a Sitecore issue. Maybe I'll even open a support ticket. When it's solved, I would kind of generalize that issue and put a blog post out that, oh, if you ever run into this problem, maybe check my blog post out. And I think that's how I got into it. And by the end of the year, I had enough content that I could say that I have contributed to the community. And that's how I got my first MVP. So, yes, I did the hard work, but I think I was surrounded by excellence that helped me
Yeah,
to achieve my goal.
absolutely. That is fantastic that you saw the MVP summit and was like,
Yeah, I'm like,
I'm going
they
for
get
that.
something that I don't. I
Yeah,
want it.
early access to everything and a free
Exactly,
Sitecore
like all those
license. Like,
goodies.
yeah, exactly. That's so funny. You know, I've never told, well, okay, first of all, I have never been to an MVP summit because there hasn't been one since I've been an MVP because of
Yeah,
COVID times.
yep.
But at the last symposium in 2019, I was standing behind you on the escalator and
No way.
I was too intimidated to talk to you.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I had
I don't
just
think I'm intimidating at all.
You're not. No. It's just, being surrounded by all of these amazing women in the MVP program is fantastic, and all of
Yeah,
you really inspired me as well.
yep.
So, thank you.
You are most welcome. Thank you.
Yeah. So, speaking of, your status as a role model, you are to me, eh, what does that mean to you?
Responsibility. It's a responsibility, because when somebody looks up to you, you feel responsible towards that person. But at the same time, it becomes even more important for you to be you. Just because somebody has noticed you, or somebody thinks very high of you, you don't need to change your course. That means you are doing something right, that people actually look up to you, and it's an honor, but at the same time it's a responsibility.
Mm,
That means that there is someone out there who look up to you, and whatever content you put out there, or the way you carry yourself, somebody is looking at all that and being inspired, for better or for worse, you know.
yep.
So it's a huge responsibility, but at the same time it's a responsibility that I happily and honorously carry.
Oh, I love that.
because it's great to be an it feels great to be an inspiration that whatever the kind of world we live in, whatever little I can do for someone, so that I can, not only me who gets better, but if I can lift someone else also while I am climbing the ladder of success, what better purpose you can have than that,
Exactly. It's all about supporting other people as well. There are
right?
too many people who have status and use that to like look down on other people, but it's more you're pulling other people up.
Yeah. And
That's your
again,
job.
I the personality or the person that I have become, of course, my family, my upbringing, but also as I mentioned before, and I will be mentioning that a lot, being surrounded by people who don't look down to you
Mhm.
just because they are way better than you. You know what I mean? So that gives you the responsibility to pay forward, because I think of all those names that I mentioned to you as my teachers,
Mhm.
and in my culture, uh, teachers are given a very high place, even higher than God at sometimes. So I really, you can really never pay them back, because they are here and they brought you up there. So all you can do is do the same thing for somebody else. That's the
Exactly.
only way you can pay forward. There is
Yeah.
no way I can pay them back. But all these people that I've learned from, the names that I mentioned in the earlier in this call, I'm just trying to pay back to pay back them by helping others who are in my position where I was few years ago. You know,
Exactly. That is the exact same thing I tell everyone who I mentor. I'm like, number one, I will learn from you because I learn from anyone.
yep,
And two, pay it forward when you're in this position in the
yeah,
future. Like, do this for someone else. It doesn't have to be multiple people like I do, but at least one. Yeah,
right, exactly.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah, and there is a very thin line between you being proud of your accomplishments and you being so proud that you look down to other.
yeah,
So yes, I am proud of what I've accomplished for myself, but I don't need to um, rub it on everyone that I come across. The more successful or the more knowledgeable I get, the more humble I should get, so
yeah,
that people see me as approachable. They can come to me and ask me any questions, and that's what I tell even to my team members, whoever I work with, that never shy away. No question is a silly question. I'm never going to laugh at you like, what kind of question is that? No, maybe that's one aspect you haven't explored, because nobody knows everything, and anybody who claims they know everything, they don't know anything.
you really
That's what
can't.
my perception is. The
Yeah,
one thing that I've learned from some of my mentors is, it's not important to know everything, but it's very important to know where you go look for that thing.
yeah,
As long as you know that, you are good. And I was spoiled, because all these teachers and friends that I have made over the years, they spoiled me. Like, I was treated with utmost respect and friendship, but at the
good.
same times, professionally, they made me work for my answers. Like, I would not just go to anybody and ask them that, oh, I cannot find it, and the first question I would get, I'll give you an example. Bill Cronin, uh, when I go to him for any questions, he will ask me four, five, seven questions. Like, did I do this? Did I do that? Did I look it up? Did I read it? If any of those answer like, no, I didn't do it, he was like, why don't you do that and let me know? So they make you learn how to find an answer. And if you still can't find an answer, then you, of course, go to them and they will help you. And that's exactly what I do with people who come to me with questions, because I know that's the best way to teach someone. And I'm not
Yep.
being impolite or anything. I just say, did you try that? And they say no. I'm like, okay, why don't you try that? I think that should work. And then if they come back and say that that worked or it didn't work, then we can talk about the next steps. But all these things that I have observed and learned over the years, I think has just helped me.
Absolutely. You're very, very wise. We were talking earlier about asking questions on the ASP.NET forums in the
Oh,
old days because we didn't have Stack Overflow.
no, we did not. Oh gosh.
What a hard time that was. But yeah,
Yeah.
it
But
was
the one
like
thing that I miss, I don't know, maybe it was one of way that Microsoft kind of spoiled us all. Even now, when you go to the ASP.NET Core or if you go to any of these Microsoft documentations, the one thing I love about um, the documentation is the way they have like all the classes and methods and properties listed out, so you know exactly what class would do what. And they even had it for Microsoft Commerce Server. So you would know, like when you go, like before Stack Overflow, I hardly googled anything. I will just go to microsoft.com and search within the website.
we had to.
Exactly. And then came a ASP.NET forum, and then I think then there was like a blast of all sorts of forums. And then after Slack, everything was like out and open. Like
Yeah.
it was very easy to get an answer because there was a lot of content out there. And I think over the years, as Sitecore also grew, the community grew, and now you even like Google, and like you don't even have to Google the full question. Even in Google, the auto suggestions come up when you search something for Sitecore. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's been quite an evolution. But I do remember my Microsoft Commerce Server, installing Microsoft Commerce Server days or setting up an MVC solution day. Oh gosh. I remember, like I would click install and then I'd be like, please work, please work, please work. And if it doesn't work, and I'm like, oh crap. And many a times the answer was start over.
That's
Delete
almost
everything
always,
and start
yeah.
over.
That is what I always do. If I'm at the start of a project and it hasn't taken me that long, but the install isn't whatever, wipe
Yeah.
everything, start over. It usually works because that'll take you a lot less time than
Yeah.
trying to figure out what went wrong. Like,
Oh yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah, goodness. So yeah, next I have a segment that I like to call Precious Gems. This is where I take questions and comments from Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube now, and
Okay.
yeah, have a quote featured on this show. So let me screen share here. The one I have this time is from the episode with Ishrak, also a Sitecore MVP. And she said, people think that women cannot be able to give everything, and they think that you've achieved success because you're a woman. And then we had a whole conversation about no, it's in spite of it. But we imagine uh, responded that women are able to achieve so much, and thanks for inspiring and keep posting. So
Mm-hmm.
thank you very much for that quote. But yeah, like I have found that I definitely have achieved success in spite of the fact that I'm a woman. Like,
See, when I work, um, I don't even like it's not even occur to me um, that I'm a woman. Like that I need to define that in spite of being a woman, I am successful. Like saying that I'm a successful woman. I'm a successful professional. Why do you need to put label whether I'm a woman or
yeah,
man? That's secondary. I
yeah,
am me, you know, and what my personality is, how I come across, how do I deal with people, how do I respect others, and demand the same respect because the respect that I deserve, that should define me, not my gender,
yeah,
you know. And
absolutely.
um, I think we need to do that more. As my dad always said to me, that first you deserve, then you desire.
Mm.
Work hard at what you want to achieve in your life, and then you can say that, okay, now my turn. Now I have worked enough. I have proved that I'm a deserving person. Now it's okay for me to desire a promotion or some respect in community, even a higher paycheck. I am in position now, uh, what I want to do in my life. But until I have achieved that level of success, I should shut up. You know, that's what I feel. Sometimes we have heated conversation even at home, with my son, because he finds me very different from all these women that he work with or he knows. And he was like, "You are different, mom." I'm like, I just don't like to say that you do this for me, whether it's a workplace or a train or an aeroplane, that do certain things for me because I'm a woman. No, you would let me go first because I paid more. I paid for the priority class. So I get to sit before everybody else. It doesn't matter whether I'm a woman, or I'm a man, or I'm a white, or I'm brown. It doesn't matter. I am a deserving person. I have proved that. So everything else is immaterial. I worked hard, and I think, again, as I mentioned, the people that I was surrounded by, I have always been in a very healthy professional environments, and I really, really, am grateful to God and to the universe, for that matter, that I was always surrounded by the right people. I never felt that I was discriminated because I was a woman. I don't think I was ever favored because I was a woman.
Oh
I
God,
was treated
that never
equally
happens.
as a professional by all my peers. The level of respect, there is no misogyny or nothing of that sort. Like, wherever I have worked, I have always made friends, whether they were women, men, it doesn't make any difference, because there was always, sort of this equal level of professionalism and respect, regardless of what your gender was, you know? So I just feel that you are a successful professional. That's it. You don't need to say, I'm a successful professional woman. Do you ever see any man saying that
Yeah,
I'm a successful professional man? No. So I think that's what, and that only can happen when women start respecting themselves enough. You don't need to play your woman card. You are way more than that as a person,
yes.
you know?
It um there was a quote from an earlier episode, I don't remember who, but you are a person in tech. You're
Yeah,
not a woman in tech,
yeah,
because we're people. Like you
yeah.
said, we're deserving people, period.
Yeah, I am a very proud professional, who has acquired knowledge and experience that I feel like I can share with others, so that others can benefit from that and have the same kind of life that I'm able to provide for my family. Isn't that what we
Yep,
all live for? For your family. Your success translates to your paycheck ultimately, and you are able to provide the best for your family. That's what
absolutely.
it all comes down to for me. At least I
Hmm.
can speak for myself. And of course, I'm ambitious, but my ambitions are healthy. Just because I want to do better, I'm not gonna portray somebody else bad.
Hmm.
As they say, that if you wanna make that your line is longer than the other person, you need to stretch your line out, not cut others too short.
Exactly. That's
So
so wise.
work hard, and you will succeed.
Hmm.
Again, it can happen that maybe not everybody is as lucky as I was, to be in a very, healthy professional environments in all the companies that I have worked at so far. uh, so what? Change. If an environment doesn't suit you, nobody's stopping you. Change and find something that works for you. um, In this changing world, you have to choose your battles very wisely, you know, because your own mental peace is also very important. One fine morning, if I wake up and I'm cranky, my entire family suffers, because
Yeah.
that's where I would say that um, men of the house, whatever, but the women, like as my mom always says that a home always belongs to the woman. Like woman is the one who makes a home. It's a very cheesy line for my mom to say, but I agree, because if the woman of the house is cranky, and I have experienced that, like if something goes bad or wrong at work, and if I'm upset about something and I'm just not smiling or I'm not myself, my son gets like, oh, mom's mad. My mom will be like, oh, what's going on. Everybody starts getting like low.
Hmm.
But if I am happy, I'm able to lift everybody else with me. So we do play a role of anchor in our house to bring the happiness or to bring everyone down. You have to decide what works best for you, you know, and understanding and respecting what you control. Try to change only that. Don't try to change everything around you. If changing yourself is easier, for better or for worse, choose that. I cannot control how people around me behave, but I can control how I behave.
Yes.
So if I find myself in an environment where I don't think I can function, move on. Why would you spend
Yes.
your time and energy to change seven people around you? Just find the
Just move
people that you
on.
can work with, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. Um, yeah. So you had a post or something that talked about uh, failure and how people are so afraid to fail. Why should
Mm,
people not be afraid to fail?
you should fail, because until you failed, you will not know what success feels like. If everything was handed to you, um, and you didn't actually have to work so hard for it, um, you will never value your success. You will start taking yourself for granted. Ah, it's just gonna work. And one fine day, or one bad day, when things don't go your way, you will not be able to handle that. So I think failures are very, very important for your growth, professional and personal. Um, I'm not saying that you should always try and fail, but all I'm saying is don't be afraid.
Mhm.
And it starts in our lives from a very young age, from the day we start learn how to crawl, how to walk. If you are afraid to fail, you will never crawl, you will never get up and walk. So you are already doing that, you are already trying, and you are already not being afraid of trying. When you were probably a year old or a year and a half old, that, oh, I want to walk. If you were afraid of failure, then you will never learn how to walk. And it's a very metaphorical concept. It applies to every stages of life. If you don't get up and try to walk, you will not know how walking feels like, how tall does it feel like. And when you are actually able to stand tall, there is so much more than you can see around you, versus when
Absolutely.
you are just lying down on floor, all you are seeing is the legs of the beds and sofas. But when you get up, oh, there is a mirror in the house. Oh, there is a television in the house. Oh, there is this sofa that I can actually climb on it. It's not just some legs, you know. So, and that transfers to everything in our life. You should never be afraid of climbing or trying, because they work in a cycle. The more you try, maybe you will fail, but ultimately you will be able to climb. Try again. Every single step matters. uh, I think, to me, what's more important is the journey than the destination. uh, Whether you reach the destination or not is not very important, but I think what's more important is how you uh, behaved, or how was your journey. Were you crying and whining, or were you taking every challenge that came your way with, okay, we'll figure it out and move on. Maybe you will fail, maybe you will succeed. Nobody knows that. I believe strongly in the principle of karma, uh, or as they say, what goes around comes around. So, and I'm a faithful person. I'm a believer. So I always feel, and I always tell the same to my son as well, that you do your work. You show your part of faith. God has to respond to it. So if you have done your work, if you put 100%, you know in your heart that I have done everything that I could, then it doesn't matter whether you fail or you succeed. My son would always tell me, Mom, can you please pray that I will get good marks in the exam? And I will pray that you get what you deserve and nothing less than that. If you worked hard, what is your conscience? What does your conscience tell you? Have you worked hard enough? Have you given your 100%? And he would say yes. I'm like, then you don't even have to ask me to pray.
I love that. Yeah,
Do what you are supposed to do, then leave everything. Outcome is not what you control.
exactly. But your
You control the
reaction to it,
efforts.
yeah,
Exactly. Exactly.
and all of that. And I always say the real failure is never trying in the first place. Like,
Yeah.
I know so many people who talk themselves out of trying something, and I can
Yep.
see what they're doing. And I'm just like, just go for it. Life is short, you know?
Yeah.
Just
And
do your best.
this is something one of my mentor, Bill Cronin, has always said to me. Even in some of these one-on-one reviews that I've had over the years with him, I go way back with him, and he would be like, "You are afraid to fail. Don't be afraid of failing." He was like, "The moment you get over that, then you will be unstoppable." And I think that's true for all of us. That once you get over that fear, the wall of fear, then you are not afraid. And when you are once you are not afraid, you will keep on trying, and until you keep on trying, until you stopped trying, you are not a failure. You never are a failure, because as they say, you died trying.
That's right. Oh my God.
Yep.
That is so funny. Yeah. So, what advice would you have for anyone who is interested in tech?
um, find the right people who can help you to where to start. And I'm putting myself out there. Feel free to reach out to me if anybody needs any guidance. I'm always open, whether it's school level guidance or college level guidance or a professional guidance. I always like to help people. And the one thing that I believe, that especially all these families out there in the world, I always try to say that, please educate your girls, because an educated woman will take care, like, when a woman of the house is educated, she will make sure that the kids are educated, because she knows the value of education. It doesn't matter whether she's a professional or a working woman or not. At least she knows the value of education. So I would say, go out and try, or stay virtual and try in today's time. Um, don't be afraid of reaching out for help or asking for help of any kind. At least you have the courage to ask for help.
Mhm.
And even in your professional environment, or in your school or in your college, never shy away from asking a question. Raise your hand and ask your question, whether you are a boy or a girl, doesn't matter. Don't shy away from asking questions. Even if somebody says it's a silly question, it's a silly question, it's their problem. For you, that question is important. You need that question answered. So don't be afraid. I know many people lack the, I wouldn't say confidence, but the comfort. Most people are not even comfortable to raise their hand, and that kind of pushes them behind or back, holds them back. So always raise your hand and ask your question. You don't have to be aggressive or impolite. You can always be strong yet polite. So say what you have to say when you are asked for an opinion. Don't shy away from sharing your opinions, but just be careful that your opinions don't sound like a judgment. there is a very thin line. You can share your opinion while being respectful to others. That Start some of this sentence like "in my opinion" or "this is what I think," so everybody knows that you are speaking for yourself and you are not making a general statement. Some professional courtesy, be respectful to, like, if you are in a leader's position, be respectful to the people who are still trying to climb that ladder that you have already climbed, or you are already up there. Don't look down to them. So, and work with each other rather than thinking that, oh, XYZ works for me. No, they work with you. Even if you are at the highest position, be humble, because, as I say, you are nothing, especially when you are at a very high position in your company. You are nothing without the boots on the ground, because the boots on the ground are the ones that make you great.
Mm.
You are at a very high level, but those are the people who are carrying out day to day tasks and putting the hours and effort and trying to explore things. And all the while, they are merely looking to you for guidance. So uh, don't give them crap. Be respectful when somebody asks question. And anyone who wants to go into tech, I would say one thing: start looking around yourself and don't be just a consumer. Even if you are watching a TV, playing a video game, using an app, be curious, because curiosity will take you places. Be curious about anything and everything and ask questions. Anyone you see around you that you think can have answer, approach them and ask. When you approach somebody politely, people are not going to be offended. They would People ultimately like to help out each other. And again, I'm not saying everybody is. There are some 1 or 2% bad apples out there, but that doesn't become like a generalized theme for everyone who is a successful person in tech. So luckily in the Sitecore community, there is this strong feeling of community, uh, that people are actually eager to help out if you are starting out in tech stack. So reach out to all those MVPs and even your peers. You don't have to reach out to an MVP only. If you feel like, no, no, no. Um, like Shelley Benhoff felt that, oh, when she saw me in elevator, oh my God, how do I talk to her? Don't feel that way.
I know, right? It's so
Approach
weird.
people. If you are polite and if you want to ask a question.
Mhm.
But also respect everyone's personal and professional space. So
Yeah,
finding the right balance and
yeah,
be brave and be curious.
absolutely. The only stupid question is the one you don't ask, is what,
Exactly.
yeah, like that
Exactly.
is so important to understand. I
Yep.
could talk to you all day about all of this,
Same here.
but I am respectful of my guest's time. So we
Thank you.
are at the end of the episode. But before I let you go, can you tell us where people can connect uh, with you?
They can message me on Twitter, on LinkedIn. They can even reach out to me on Slack. Yeah, I have a Slack presence in Sitecore community. They can post questions to me on Stack Exchange. I am there as well. So yeah, feel free to reach out to me with any questions, and I'll be more than happy to help out anyone who has any questions of any level. I'll try my
Awesome.
best.
I will have links to all of that in the description. Again, thank you so much for joining me today. This was an absolute joy.
Same here, Shali. It was nice knowing you.
Yes, absolutely. If
It's
you,
great when you can put a face to a name.
yeah, yeah, totally. Like we've been in this community together for years,
Yeah,
and like
exactly.
interacted on Twitter and stuff like that, but hadn't actually
Yep,
spoken. So that's why I love doing the show.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's hard to meet in person, and it's a good thing, but it's a bad thing too. But I think because of this pandemic, we are able to see past the um, physical distance that we have between the two of us. We are able to connect online virtually, but we are still able to talk as if we were sitting in person and having
Exactly.
a chat. So uh, I thank technology for that.
Same. Yes. Thank you so much
Thank you.
again. If you want to support us, please like, subscribe, and share this episode with your fellow gems. Let me know in the comments what other topics you would like me to cover, and follow Tiaras and Tech on social media and use the hashtag MakeYourselfShine. Thanks for watching or listening, and have a great day.